I had been traveling for business, staying in a quiet hotel room in a city far from home. The day had been long, filled with back-to-back meetings and negotiations, and by the time evening came, exhaustion was weighing heavily on me. Still, I found myself missing my wife more than I expected. Before drifting off to sleep, I decided to video call her, wanting to hear her voice and see her face. When she answered, she looked radiant as always, but something felt off. Her eyes darted around the room nervously, and her movements were restless, as if she were trying to hide something. I dismissed it at first, convincing myself she was just tired like me. We began chatting casually about our days. She smiled, but it was fleeting, almost rehearsed. As our conversation continued, I noticed her constantly readjusting the camera. Sometimes it focused on her face, and in the next moment, it tilted toward the couch, then the wall. "Is everything okay?" I asked, trying to keep my tone casual. "Yeah, the internet's acting up a bit," she replied, but her voice didn't carry the conviction she usually had. I told myself not to overthink it, and steered the conversation toward work stories and funny incidents from my meetings. Then, without warning, she stood up mid-call. "Hold on, I'll be right back," she said, and she placed her phone on the table, leaving it recording. The camera now captured part of the living room, and I could hear faint noises, footsteps, a slight shuffle, maybe another voice. My heart began to pound. I strained to listen, each sound intensifying the knot forming in my stomach. At first, I tried to dismiss it as imagination, but then I heard it clearly, a man's voice, low and unmistakable. My chest tightened as dread sank deep into my bones. Who is that?" I whispered to myself, frozen, unable to move. The voice murmured something about being quick, and the words sent chills down my spine. I wanted to deny it, to believe it was the TV or a neighbor, but I knew my instincts weren't wrong. Moments later, she returned to the camera, her smile uneven, fragile. "Sorry, I was just checking something in the kitchen," she said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I studied her closely, trying to read the truth in her eyes. There was tension there, a hint of panic that didn't belong to someone merely fetching a drink. "Who were you talking to?" I asked softly. Her eyes widened for a fleeting second, but she quickly masked it with another forced smile. "No one, why?" she answered, her tone light but unconvincing. I remained silent, my gaze fixed on her, trying to decipher what she was hiding. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a shadow flicker behind her, passing along the hallway. My stomach dropped. "Who's there?" I demanded, my voice sharper than I intended. She froze, her facade slipping for just a moment. "What do you mean?" she asked, feigning confusion. I leaned closer to the screen. "Don't play games with me." I saw someone move. Her breathing changed, shallow and uneven. She glanced quickly over her shoulder, then returned her eyes to the camera. After a long silence, she let out a heavy sigh. "You're imagining things, honey," she whispered, but her eyes betrayed her fear. She wasn't afraid of me. She was terrified of being found out. I didn't raise my voice, didn't argue. I simply ended the call, my mind spinning with what I had just seen and heard. That night, sleep eluded me entirely. I lay on the hotel bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every sound, every movement, every pause from that call. My thoughts refused to rest. By morning, I booked the earliest flight home without alerting her. Arriving at our street, I noticed a car parked 2 blocks away that I didn't recognize. My hands trembled as I approached the house, unlocking the door with extreme caution. Inside, everything looked normal. Too normal. She sat on the couch pretending to scroll through her phone, her composure brittle. "You're back early," she said softly, her face paling when she saw me. I looked around the house, my voice steady but laced with suspicion. "Who was here last night?" I asked. She stammered, instantly denying any visitors. But then her phone buzzed on the table. A message preview flashed. "Did he suspect anything?" From someone named Mark. The room went silent, the weight of the words suffocating. She tried to explain, but her excuses felt hollow, meaningless against the truth I had already discovered. I didn't shout, didn't curse. I turned away, realizing that the trust one had placed in her had been shattered beyond repair. Over the next few days, she pleaded for conversation, forgiveness, a chance to mend things. But I could never unhear the voice, never unsee the fear in her eyes. Some betrayals leave scars too deep to heal. I filed for separation quietly, without drama. That one video call had shown me all I needed to know. Her deception, her lies, and the reality of the woman I thought I knew.